Oh man, RJ, we came so close. It was so
I thought
close.
they had it. I really did. I even wrote up the well I write usually for a few different eventualities, but like I had a feeling I was gonna send the whole Kraken win one.
I know. That being said, look, I will take a third period comeback, get 3 goals, tie the game up, send it to OT. Coyotes won. We only got 1 point. That's a good net positive overall. Like there are good takeaways from this game regardless.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, they're definitely basically. I mean, you can almost break it down to the third period versus the rest of the game. But yeah, definitely some good takeaways, and just the resilience, right?
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I kind of tweeted at the end of the second period. Look, like they look disinterested. There's just nothing. There's no takeaways really. They're just not even really here to play. Let's see if Hackstall can get something out of this group for the third. At least just try and get some momentum going. And yeah, they certainly had something going in the third.
That they did. Because how many times have we seen it so far this season? Right? You get the offside call. Goal gets taken off the board for you. You immediately allow the response goal to Ottawa, and it was just over. Like certainly through the rest of that first period, and certainly through the second period, it was completely over for the Kraken at that point. But then, yes, something changed in the third, which we're not used to seeing. Like we're not used to seeing them be that like down on themselves and then coming out of it really, or at least not in a very long time. So very encouraged by that tonight as we make our way over. Well, actually, one more thing before we get to comments. Ryan Donato, back in the lineup, scores a goal, leads the Kraken with a .52 expected goals tonight. Like, telling you, just never take him out of the lineup.
Yes, I mean if that wasn't clear before, which I guess clearly it wasn't clear to Hackstall, it should be now. Do not make him a healthy scratch again. He should be in the lineup every night, and he just showed you why tonight.
Exactly. So Joshua kicking us off tonight in the comments. That was almost an epic comeback. I mean, it's still kind of a comeback. Like he came down from being down 3 in the third period to send it to OT. That's not nothing.
No, it's not. And, I know it doesn't matter at this point in the season, really, but you got a point out of it, too. For a competing team, you completed the comeback to an extent.
Yeah, if we're just destined to lose 1,000, 1-goal games every season, at least let them be in overtime. Get something from them, years from now. Absurdly say, not sure my heart can take periods like that third. Come on, it was good though. It was exciting, fun, good stuff in the third.
Yeah.
Gregory, what a comeback just to lose an OT. Ugh. Like I said, I'll take it given the last really like month and a half from this Kraken team where we could count on one hand the amount of wins they've actually had. I don't know. Does this make it even just 5 games where they've gotten a point since the beginning of like February? I think it might.
I think that's about right. It's not good.
Yeah, but, so I'll take it where we could get it. Michael, this team lol, on the day we get baseball back, it is clearly affirmed that the Kraken are the Mariners of the NHL. Yes, Michael, they really are. Reading ID, 10 minutes of joy tonight. A little bit. I mean, maybe a little bit more. Maybe more like 15. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. When did the first goal happen? Yeah, it was about 10 minutes in actually. The third.
Yeah, but they really dominated the first 10 minutes of the game, so I'll throw that in there too.
And you got maybe 15 seconds of joy on the first Appleton goal that before you realized it was clearly offside.
Yeah, don't want to forget that. Tyler, I mean to come back from 3-0 in the last period to force OT in itself is a win in my mind. I agree, Tyler. I think that's a big deal. I know. However, drum roll, please. Ugh. Yep, couldn't break that streak, unfortunately. Yep. Got a point, but can't break that one. And then Michael, Coyotes 2 points, Kraken 1 point tonight. Exactly right. Did the Canadians play tonight?
No, they did not.
I didn't think so. Yeah.
Montreal's next game is against the Kraken, so we'll know when they play next.
All right, and that's gonna be a good, really interesting game. Oh my
Yeah, and the
goodness.
Kraken are now 3 points clear of them though, so they can't move into last place after that one.
Yeah. Reading ID, maybe don't check the standings, lol. Yeah, I mean, it was just Ottawa. Originally, the tweet I had put out of all the like kind of things that the Kraken had done so far in this game that weren't great was going to say, and they're only losing 1-0, like just to poke fun at Ottawa. But then Ottawa
Right.
scored again before I could finish the tweet, and then they scored not long after that. So I was just like, oh okay, this is not good.
Put this one back in draft.
Yeah, maybe just a little, adjusted a little. Superfly, yay, tight game. Positives, we're already 60 games into the season. Negatives, there's still 22 more games to go. Ugh. I know it's bittersweet because I get the idea of like the only thing we've had to look forward to for a little while now, RJ, has been the off season and all the moves the Kraken are going to make to be competitive next season because they aren't this year. But at the same time, it's going by pretty quick. I'm gonna miss it.
Yeah, it really is. I'm gonna miss it. Yeah, as soon as the end of April hits, I think we're all just gonna be like, once it's that week mark without a Kraken game, we're like, what's going on here?
I know
How
what
is this?
happened. I mean, we'll have had like multiple times of that already this season just because of stoppages and schedules
Right.
and whatever. But it'll still be weird knowing that there's no more coming for 6 months.
Hmm.
Trips, disappointing outcome. That was a really soft penalty on Geo at the end. At least they got the offense working in the third. It was a soft penalty on Geo.
Hmm. Yeah, agreed. And funny is coming from Trips,
Yeah,
but
I know.
yeah, not much of a trip.
Nope, it wasn't. Went down pretty easy. It'd been out there for like an hour and a half in that overtime already. I mean, it's no surprise that it went down easy, but
Yeah.
still. It's not how you want to see a game end. That's for sure. Sergeant Pickles, if we're going with the hashtag stink for Shane, why even get the loser point? It's the moral victories. It's to prove that we can come back from a 3-goal deficit in the third period to make something happen so that we have even more confidence going into next season.
Yeah, in the context of this game, then it makes sense and you get something out of it. If the Kraken were up 3-0 and then had it go the other way, then yeah, maybe you'd just rather allow that fourth one in regulation and lose out on the points altogether.
Yeah.
But it was still important tonight.
It was important that we knew that the Kraken's healing crystals and stuff worked. You following with the
Oh,
Kraken
you know what?
team?
Yeah, on Twitter,
Again,
you're
now put
right.
those in a drawer, pull them out game 1 next year. Let's not
Yeah,
use
exactly.
them.
Don't
Let's
need
not
it.
drain them before we need them.
Yeah,
That's the
crystals
important
worked.
stuff. Mm-hmm.
Forgot about that.
Tight. Woo, that third period, Gord out there causing trouble all night. That line was incredible tonight, RJ.
Yes, like every single shift, that line was amazing. I loved what I saw from them. I'm going to go look up just some of their line stats here, but
They just
seemed like
it just
every
says
shift they were out
it's all just good or great. That's just what it says.
there.
Those are the official stats. Good and or great.
Good and or great. All right, well that's a good good and or great evaluation of how they played.
Yep. Superfly,
Uh,
we're now tied with the hottest team in hockey. That is right.
Yeah, that's true. Oh, Coyotes. Good for them. You know
I
what? Good
know.
for them.
Did you get the stats there? Should I keep
Yeah,
going?
about 68. Yeah, 68% expected goals for, which I think was tops among Kraken lines. Let's see. I thought they would have more expected goals for on the ice, but they, 1-0 in actual goals for, shot attempts 10-7. I feel like they didn't shoot as much as they could have.
Because they
Looking at
didn't.
these numbers.
That
Yeah,
was
they had
that
a lot more
was
possession than the shot attempts would indicate.
that is a theme that continues for this Kraken team. When they're doing really well on the forecheck, it's like they don't want to give up the puck. It's like they see
Mhm.
shooting as a turnover or something. I don't know what that's all about, but it's a little unfortunate. But it does lead to stuff like that because I was looking at the expected goals and I'm like, oh, they're not like here. Where are they?
Right.
McCann leading the comeback, a sign of things to come. That's from Reading ID. That is true. And then
Yep.
also from Michael there, I accidentally skipped to. If you're Ron Francis, how can you possibly bring back Hackstall? Well, I mean, it looked okay tonight. Got him going for the third. And then I'd argue McCann, not Hackstall, got them fired up in the third. That's from Michael.
And I think there certainly could be something to that. I mean, you look at what was the game that they were down? It was like 4-0 or something, and Yanni Gord got 1 goal, and they got a few more after that. They didn't complete the comeback. But I really think it's becoming a theme now when they're down really big in these games. They score one, and then a big push ensues for the next 2 to 3 minutes. And I think that's happened a few times. Just usually the difference is in that like 3 minute push, they usually don't score two more goals, to get back into it. I think, there's also the fact that most teams generally can withstand a push like that better than Ottawa can.
For sure. The other thing is usually they'll allow one or two in there as well. It's
right.
Even during the big pushes they make, they'll run into problems there. I don't know. They were playing really well though before the McCann goal. That's the only thing that I would, use to play devil's advocate, was that part of that McCann goal was, everybody was putting a lot of pressure. They looked like they did the first 10 minutes of the game. Again, so let's see. Ty, this stuff drives me crazy. They get one waived and it's pout mode for 30 minutes. We get a goal and look out, we're ready to play. They need someone to fire them up, period. Agreed. I mean, it's been an obvious problem all year long, motivation.
Yeah, for sure. And I think that's phrased really well. I mean, they had one goal waved off and a clear one too. You can't even argue, it's not like a goalie interference. It can go either way. Like, okay, yeah, that was clearly offside. That shouldn't get to you at all. And it really was pout mode for 30 minutes. They just turned on a dime as far as how they were playing, and you saw the effect right away. You just can't have that.
No, you can't. You got to be better than that. Lindsay, I was supposed to be on a date tonight, but I canceled in order to watch the Kraken and Leafs game. Even though they both lost in OT, I don't regret my decision one bit. What an exciting night. Yes, the Leafs fell to Arizona tonight. So rough-ish night for Lindsay. But
they came.
Yeah.
I think they also came back.
They did.
3-0 down, right?
Yes, they did. They did. Wasn't all in one period, I don't believe, but yes, they did as well. So it was an exciting night, Lindsay. You're happy with the choice you made. That's always good in life. Trips, McCann get the C next year.
Didn't we talk about?
Yeah, we talked about this last game. Probably not. Probably going with one of the guys that already has an assistant captain role.
Yeah, I think so.
If they go with one, who knows?
Yeah, but I certainly wouldn't be surprised to see him get an A on his jersey.
Yeah, that's what Sergeant Pickles points out. A couple comments from here. Yeah, Sergeant Pickles, I really want to see this roster post deadline. Hopefully, we bring in more young, hungry guys. I mean, it's going to be interesting. That's what Ron Francis is looking to do.
Yeah, exactly. I think whether it's maybe some 20-something-year-old prospects, younger 20s that come in, or more likely just guys who are already in the system coming up from the AHL, like Cole Lind, I really want to see more of.
Yeah.
Borgen and Fleury, I want to see more of. So I think we're going to have the chance to see that post-deadline.
What'd you think of Fleury tonight? Because I liked him. He shot.
Yeah, exactly. He was shooting the puck. There were a couple of moments where he looked a little bit lost in the D zone, but that's to be expected after sitting for so long. Like, he's talked about this. He said it's really hard to get in a rhythm. It's not good for me sitting in the press box. And I thought you saw the results of that in the D zone on a few occasions where I think, you get him playing 3-4 games in a row. That goes away. And if he can play the way that he did in the offensive zone and shooting the puck, then we're golden.
Yeah. Again, devil's advocate. A lot of them looked lost in the D zone a couple times tonight. Almost all of them, especially Alexiak. I know you were pointing out some stuff on Twitter. It was a brutal game from him again. Lindsay, crazy to believe that there's only Mason Appleton games left this season. Of course, because where's number 22? I know it's gone by really fast.
It has.
It's been good and bad in some ways. Because I remember at the beginning of the year, it was like, oh my gosh, we got 65 games left. Like, that's so long or whatever. But now it's like, oh my gosh, keep it going. Jay Gar, there are so many possible comebacks today. It really the theme around the NHL tonight. Good night for old Gary Bettman.
Oh yeah.
Superfly, so far that's all been talked about. But there's nothing happening right now trade wise in the NHL. Hopefully Francis can get something for our UFAs. I think he's going to, unless he sticks to an insanely high asking price. But I don't think he will. Not after the expansion.
We know he's got
draft.
his insanely high asking price, but we'll see if he sticks to it.
Yeah, a first and a prospect for Geo is reportedly what he wants, according to him, right? Like, that was actually from him.
Yep.
So
no, he not directly, but what they're hearing around the league. He wouldn't confirm that.
Yeah.
That's
Yeah. Lindsay, are you back in Cali tonight, RJ, or is that your new apartment?
I am back in Cali just for the weekend. I'm in the Bay Area actually for my grandpa's 82nd birthday, so visiting some family down there.
Yep. Ty, going to need a period like that to carry over to the next one. St. Louis has them playing well, but it's still Montreal. Oh, St. Louis. Yeah, I was like, what? What do the Blues
Yeah.
have to do with this? Yeah, but it's still Montreal. I mean, that is true. Kind of the coaching change, hot, bump they got is starting to wear off.
Right, as happens. But
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I think the Kraken are in this stretch where, and I think I wrote this in the morning brief, like they are poised to potentially win 4 out of 5. Well,
Yes.
like I guess 3 out of 5 now after that. But
Yeah.
going into this stretch, it's Ottawa winnable as we certainly saw,
Mm-hmm.
Montreal winnable,
Mm-hmm.
Tampa they're gonna have trouble with, but then Detroit and Arizona, both of those are winnable too. So I mean, this is a real good chance to have a good stretch before things get difficult again.
Mm-hmm.
Got to take advantage of it.
Wouldn't it be so interesting if the only time we could beat Arizona is when they're above us in the standings?
Maybe that's what it takes. That's the secret sauce.
I guess
Just have
so.
to be underdogs.
Lindsay, so the two teams I root for, the Kraken and the Leafs, have not beat the Arizona Coyotes once this season. Clearly, I'm the problem. Yeah, you might want to talk to Ty about that one. You guys can figure out a solution together to these things.
Yeah.
That is quite strange, especially considering one of those teams is the Leafs. That pretty decent.
Mm-hmm.
Tyler, is it just me, or does it seem like Drieger raises his hand trying to get an icing call every time the puck comes
Yes.
behind
Okay.
the
You
net?
did notice that. Yeah. It does seem like he does that on anything that's even marginal.
Yeah. What- maybe it's connected to the same part of his brain that thinks his crease is bad and he needs to be out of it as much as possible too, RJ, because like there was that early in the or midway through the first, there was that one where he's like diving and he's like 5 feet out of his crease, and that screenshot was going around Twitter. Later he's out of his crease and gets leveled by Vince Dunn because of it, and then finally on I think it was the second Ottawa goal, he's like a foot to or 2 feet in front of his crease again, and it's just like, what are you doing?
On that one, he's just trying to cover the second man in front because he's outnumbered 2-on-1 in front. Larson's got one guy, but McCann just missed the other, so Drieger's coming out to go deal with it.
I mean, all the more reason to kind of maybe be back, maybe be down in
Yeah, no,
butterfly, take away the lower part of the net. I was just, I made the joke on Twitter as part of my long, list of things the Kraken were doing, about him thinking his crease was lava. But watching him in these games, like every night, I just turn into Happy Gilmore screaming at that golf ball that doesn't want to go in the hole. But I'm just screaming at Chris Drieger. I'm like, the crease is your home. Why don't you want to go home? Go home!
Oh, that's great.
I'm just gonna start if y'all start seeing that from my Twitter feed, just Happy Gilmore, gifs of that. Just like know that that's what's going on in my place. I'm just screaming at Drieger about staying in the crease. Kraken Hawk. Well, the comeback was fun to watch. OT not so much. Hey, I will say, for the first time, I felt like in the Kraken overtime period, we got a little bit of some exciting back and forth stuff.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, exactly. It's been one way or the other. It seems like every overtime they've played so far, where just one team has dominated possession. But yeah, you got some of that fun, chaotic back and forth that we really like about 3-on-3 overtime, and that was just fun to see. Makes your heart race even more, especially after that comeback.
Yep.
So there's that, but it is fun.
Love the guys. There's always one or two people who get stuck out there too on the shift because it is a long shift, thing too. It's so much fun. Let's see, where was he? Lindsay, that Blackwell Gord Appleton line is pure fire. I really hope they can stay together next year. I do too. Let's see what Blackwell and Appleton, or Appleton's at RFA, Blackwell's a UFA, right?
Yeah, that's what it is. So yeah, Blackwell
hopefully.
you'd think would be the more uncertain of the two there, but he looks, I think the best between him and Appleton. Re-sign him. I just don't think it's not going to be worth it. The value you're going to get.
No, and we talked about this on a podcast, and I think I talked about this on a post game not that long ago as well. That Blackwell probably doesn't have trade value this year. This deadline, not at least not enough to trade him away rather than just re-signing him. He's not going to cost you too much. He's been hurt all year. it just makes all the sense in the world to re-sign him. Only 28 too. Like, come on.
Yeah, go for it.
It'll be interesting. Do you think, before I get to the next question, do you think we'll see more, deals, extensions post trade deadline, or do you think Francis waits until the end of the year at that point?
I think Francis probably waits until the end of the year. I think he kind of wants to see what he has, how the whole picture comes together basically, and how the offseason's shaping up. He'll have more time to see again, like what happens with Philip Forsberg or Johnny Gaudreau. Do either of those guys re-sign? You kind of have to look around the league and see how everything's going to shape up.
Yeah, or because I was a little surprised, because I assumed they were going to do that with all of them. I was a little surprised to see McCann re-sign mid-season.
Yeah, I mean, I was too, but certainly after hearing from him and Francis, I mean, both sides really wanted to get something done, and there was easily that middle ground they could both agree to, so it made too much sense.
Yeah. Brian, hey Kraken fam, how's it going, Brian? Kraken Hawk. Well, now that the Hawks are going to suck, hopefully the next few years the Kraken can greatly improve, start winning more, and get Seattle sports spotlight during the winter and spring. That is certainly the plan now, I think, for both franchises.
Yeah, exactly. And I think the Kraken ownership sees the urgency there.
Yeah, from Jan in here, we got Shane Wright to Habs. We'll see.
Are you the actual? Okay, I gotta ask. Are you the actual former Habs goalie, Jan Denis? Because that's I doubt it, but there's a former Habs goalie by that name.
There's a chance. What you're saying is there's a chance. From Hunter, I missed the game tonight. How'd it go? First 10 minutes good. Next 40 not so good. Last 15 great. I know that doesn't equal 60, but there was overtime involved.
Yeah. There you go.
No, seriously, if you have the opportunity, Hunter, to go back and watch the third period, I would, just because it's it's some of the better hockey the Kraken have played all season. Certainly some of the most exciting hockey they've played all season. Ty, watch the first 10 minutes of the last 10 of the game. There you go. Ty's kind of in the same boat. Let's see. From Schultz. So how do the Kraken get an additional high-ish draft pick to get a Geeky Bros line? I don't know that they have the assets to get that done, RJ.
No, I mean, they do, but it's not something they'd want to do. I think
I was going to say,
you're probably getting a couple that, maybe high seconds, if you're lucky, a low first for in the Geo and Yarncroak returns. You could bundle that all together with your high second and probably get a mid first, and maybe even throw an RFA or something. But given how thin the prospect pool is, you don't want to be doing that. I just probably unrealistic at this point. They'll be drafting too high to take Connor Geeky, I think. And
well, we assume things could change.
That's true. As far
maybe this triggers a big long winning streak and they win 20 of their last 22.
Yeah, well, there you go. Then you're right in range.
Yep. Let's see. Sergeant Pickles, do they need to deal less than one goalie at this point? At least one goalie at this point? I mean, we've talked about that. That would probably be okay if you can get a good return for Drieger from a goaltending needy team.
The reality given waivers eligibility is you are going to lose one of Drieger or Decord next season. So pick which one.
Yeah. Do you think they do it at the deadline, or do you think they wait till the offseason and make a trade?
I think they'd probably wait till the offseason.
Me too. Let's see. Superfly answering that question about trading for more picks. Lindsay, what do our lines look like next year with Beniers in the lineup? So, I mean, probably figure Sheahan out, Beniers in probably at 3C.
Yeah, you'd probably start him at 3C. Down the middle, because again, wingers are going to be so hard to predict because they're going to go out and try and get some scoring wingers, I think. So down the middle, it's probably going to be McCann, Gord, Beniers, and Wenberg.
I was going to say, can they make Wenberg the 4C? And then I guess Geeky's just back to the wing.
You could say, Gord, Wenberg, Beniers, Geeky, and have McCann on the wing, whatever you want to do. There's some flexibility there, but that's probably what they're looking at down the middle.
Yeah, but my guess is Beniers plays all year middle six, starting at 3C and potentially working his way to the second C.
Yep.
Um, they're probably going to stick with the same plan that they did this year, though, where essentially the first three lines play roughly the same amount of minutes.
Yeah, I would think
Uh,
that'd be the case.
given the depth that they'll have, that's probably what's going to happen as well. Lindsay, and then from Harley, Lindsay, how are you able to watch both games? Pass up the how-to, lol. Only Leafs aired here. Did you stream the Kraken game? Thanks. I'll let Lindsay answer that one. Hunter, can't wait for the Tank Bowl next game. It's going to be interesting. It's certainly going to be interesting.
I'm interested to see just a St. Louis coached Habs team because I haven't really had the chance to watch them since he took over.
I know. Has it just been the normal? Do you see was it Cole Caulfield with Thatcher Demko? The slap shot that he just held for like an hour.
I haven't seen that.
Oh my gosh, it's on Twitter. It's so good. I'm pretty sure it was Cole Caulfield, but he's like ready for the slap shot. It's in pretty close, and Thatcher Demko's just there. Like he gets across and he's there, and Caulfield knows he's already missed his chance, so he just holds like that, and then he just finally does it right into Demko's chest. Like he was just so mad at himself for not pulling the trigger right away. It's pretty funny. I mean, it would have been funnier if Demko had let it in, because then I could have said something. But what you gonna do?
You'll have other opportunities, I'm sure.
Yeah, Ty letting us know he's got no influence over the Leafs. All right, Lindsay, between Drieger and Mrazek for the Leafs tonight, it really was a game of the creases lava. Seriously, look up the highlights for the first two Arizona goals. You'll see what I mean. I
saw a tweet from Steve Dangle where I think so. Mrazek had like no skates in the crease on either of the first two goals, and on the third one he had one skate in the crease. And the Steve Dangle was like, "All right, so we're up to one of a potential 6 skates in the crease on these 3 goals."
I don't get it, RJ. What is happening? But
yeah, as Steve would say,
I'm trying to think of
goaltender, tend the goal.
I know. I'm trying to think, like, has there been some hot goaltender in the NHL that's like making guys think this is the way to play? But like, I'm thinking of like the top goaltenders this year. Like, Shesterkin doesn't play that way.
No, but Jonathan Quick is back.
That's true.
There you go. I have the answer.
Yep. Everyone's clearly looking to Jonathan Quick, that guy that they definitely didn't forget about way out on the West Coast. On a semi-playoff based team who's been irrelevant for 6 years. He's changing the game.
Player favorite, probably.
Yep. Impressive. This is from Harley B. Impressive. Kraken tied her up as the first few posts I read were at 3-0. What a comeback. It really was. Again, doesn't happen too often to this team. Glad to see that they're capable of it. With lots of fun players who scored for him tonight too. Was really happy that Appleton was able to get one after having that first one taken away.
I know, and given how he played all game, he deserved it too. And I love that, just throwing the puck on net. Like, you probably don't expect that to go in, but good things happen when you throw the puck on net. And certainly when the momentum is going your way the way it was for the Kraken, I mean, you just feel like everything's going to work for you. And a lot of times it will when the game's going like that.
Exactly. So just keep doing that, guys. Again, they were playing super aggressive in those first 10 minutes, got aggressive again in the third. I'm telling you, that is their key to success, is just play aggressive. I don't know why they don't like to consistently when it's obviously what's been the only time that they look good in any of these games, but maybe that'll help get them going. Ty drops Appleton from that line and add Donnie. Good Lord, that would be a fast, fun line with all 3 who can score, set you up, insert many heart emojis, lol. What do you think of that? I mean, it's hard. We've talked about this before, actually, about taking Appleton off of that line and replacing him with somebody. But at the same time, that line has been so consistent, really their only consistent line. I just don't want to touch it.
Same. I really don't want to touch it. If you were going to drop Appleton off that line, I'd say Donato's probably the guy to put there.
Yes.
Just given what the lineup is. But just don't touch it. Until it really goes bad, don't touch that line.
And again, keep Donato in the freaking lineup. It's not that hard.
Yes, it's really not.
As we saw. Superfly, I think you're right. Keeping Blackwell makes sense, especially since he's working so well with Gord. By the way, can they actually still re-sign guys after the trade deadline? Yeah?
Yeah. You can sign pending free agents whenever, up until, July whatever 13th, whenever the free agency starts this year.
Yeah, which you can still sign him.
Yeah, you could. I suppose you could still
you
sign
just
him. Yeah,
you just have some competition. Usually doesn't happen.
You can't re-sign them.
I don't know. Is it still technically a re-signing because they're not changing team,
not.
but they're not changing a team.
Right, but you're not extending the contract. It's re-sign.
Right. Yeah. Like to me, an extension would be the contract hasn't run out yet, but re-sign just means they're going back to the same team. Because like they'll say that when a player, I know they'll say that when a player leaves and goes somewhere else and then comes back, right? They always refer like, oh, he re-signed with the Flames after he left for 4 years or whatever.
That one, I don't know about that one, but I think you're right about the re-sign.
It's semantics. It's our favorite thing to get bogged down in. Thanks. Thanks so much, Superfly. Just kidding. Ty, haha, seeing some Steve Dangle posts showing the Leafs Tendy out almost to the circle on 2 goals. Lindsay, I see your pain now. Yeah, we certainly had that too a little bit tonight with Drieger. In some ways it's fun, right? I mean, I guess that's the extension of your fun goaltending that doesn't exist anymore in today's NHL, RJ.
Yes, that's that last remnants left.
Goalies that try to play butterfly in front of the crease.
Mm-hmm. Still not the same.
I was going to say, you happy now? Brian, what are the odds that Hackstall comes back next year? Judging by ESPN's interview with Francis, he may be back.
I'd give it 90+% that he comes back to start the next season. Certainly the way that Francis has talked about it. And he mentioned that in the interview or in the media availability with us. Like he said, we're confident in our coaching staff. I think they've done a good job. And we're going to stick with them. So that tells me they're certainly not ready to turn on coaching yet.
Yeah. As you said, the statements made recently sure make it feel more like that than before. Because before we were bringing it like around 50-50 because there was not any public, sign of support at all. And they were in the middle of their 3rd long losing streak and like it was just not good. But yes, since then, what's been coming out of the front office and everything has been very much the opposite. Medeiros, an impressive comeback, and then what I thought was a strong overtime, staying in the offensive zone, and then we whiffed hard. Love that for us. Yeah, it's Kraken hockey, baby. It's just the way it goes for us. We can have good things, but only for so long. That's I think one of the big takeaways of this season.
Yeah, there's a limit. I think that's kind of what we're getting at. And also, I saw you as a candidate on one of the Legends of the Deep, the fan voting contest. So that's cool. And I'm sure there must be other members of the ECH community on there as well. But make sure to go give Maya a vote on that.
Yep, I already did with mine.
Yep, I did too.
Yeah, so I voted for all the ECH people. There's quite a few. Ty, some really good PK tonight and some not, lol. Yeah, it's special teams, good special team. It's just not.
Yeah, that Gord Blackwell chance though.
Yeah, that one was really good.
They've been consistent. They've stayed consistently good, consistently just lethal shorthanded. So good to see that at least. On the back end, not quite as good, but
no.
Gord and Blackwell, they're just money right now.
They are. It's kind of weird, right? Because didn't Blackwell? Well, he first came back. I remember because I was up there for that. He first came back. He was on the 4th line. They were easing him back in, but they pretty soon after that put him with Gord, and like it was bad. Like I don't know what changed over the course of like 40 games that all of a sudden they're like completely on the same page.
Right. I mean, you just want to be like chemistry coming together because on paper it looks like they should play well together.
For sure, but
yeah.
It was just it's odd that you would try something for a handful of games. It really isn't working, so you change it up, and then guys find chemistry because it's like, well, they shouldn't be practicing together at that point or anything. Like it's just one of those things. It's interesting, but it goes to show all the strange things about this team being an expansion team, dealing with. I think Blackwell was one of the guys on COVID at some point. In addition to the injuries, yeah.
So that's probably what played the biggest part.
In a lot of ways, Blackwell is like the perfect example of all the things that happened to the team as a whole this year that has kind of
Yeah, you know what?
led to them be in the situation that they are. But yeah. Let's see. From Elias, do you think Donskoy has any trade value with how poor statistically his year has been? So, he has some trade value. I mean, he's still been playing well, and I think teams know that this is an outlier for him from a scoring standpoint. But I don't know that he has good trade value.
Right. I think you probably look to be only getting pennies on the dollar for Donskoy at this point. And also just the fact that his contract goes next year again at 3.9. He's going to have to play better than he has this year to justify that salary. So it might be hard to move him just from a money standpoint, because teams do have to worry about, okay, how does this fit into our roster next year?
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I don't know.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. I think you're more likely to see a trade in the off season. If Ron Francis wants to try to clear cap or something for somebody, you can maybe see a trade in the off season when he'll only have 1 year left. Or maybe somebody misses out on a free agent, so they want to bring in Donskoy. Otherwise, then you're looking at, if for some reason the Kraken aren't competitive at next year's trade deadline, he would be a piece to move.
Yeah,
but
sure.
Let's really hope that that's not the case.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, don't want to get to that point.
From Ty, where's Brian? His jersey got a nice goal tonight. That is right. The other Brian is not here tonight. That sweet Donato jersey. Called it.
Yeah, that was awesome, and gets a goal in the first game. We'll see how long we keep that goal streak going.
It's going to be 22 games, I'm pretty sure.
There we go.
Potentially more. Who knows? We'll just have to wait to find out on that one. Lizzie, if you guys do ECH post games for the playoffs, please cover Leafs games. They're such an entertaining team to watch, whether they're winning or losing, and you guys can make fun of them when they lose. I mean, that is definitely a big reason to do Leafs games, RJ.
Yeah, and like, as she points out too, like, plus you guys might get some new subs audience attention from the center of the hockey world.
Yep.
And yeah, we definitely, we got to figure out what we're going to do playoff wise.
Yeah.
And we definitely want to do something that kind of reaches out again, more like a league wide thing, since the Kraken won't be playing hockey in the playoffs. Really try and kind of get out there and grow. And I think we did a lot of that, doing the expansion draft stuff, because everyone from all these teams wanted to look, okay, who are the Kraken going to take from us? And we grew a lot that way too. So we'll definitely be doing some cool playoff stuff.
Yeah. My only worry with like covering the Leafs like super hard is that I don't want to be the thing that makes them actually like get out of the first round.
Yeah.
I mean, no offense, Lindsay, no offense, but like, wouldn't that be crazy? Although that being said, we'd be heroes in Toronto.
Yeah,
so maybe there's something to that.
The whole thing, we can brand it as like, look, we're what did it. We got them out of the first round.
I was going to say, you get that team out of the first round, we'll get bronze statues added to that big, long bench they've got out there.
Oh, yeah.
Let's see. Ty, Gord helping Blackwell learn to skate. That has been part of it. He has not fallen down as much. Maybe that's what's been going on. Let's see. It's all moving on me. Medeiros, follow up to my tweet from a few days ago. How likely is it we're regularly scratching folks like Fleury and recent scratches for Donato because we don't plan to move them to another team? I mean, certainly like Fleury's going to be easier once Gio's moved. When that happens, Fleury is probably the guy over Borgen to get the majority of games left after that. If Yarncroke's gone, I think the same is going to be said for either Donnie, whether it's Donskoy or Donato.
I think what her question is, if I'm understanding this correctly, is like, is the reason that we're scratching guys like Fleury and Donato because we're not showcasing them for trades? It's a sign that we're going to hang on to them.
Yeah, but I don't know that a team would do that.
No, I don't. I don't think so, because you got to look at it from Haxall's perspective. He's the one making these choices. He's just trying to win some games because he desperately needs to win some games. He's putting the guys in that he thinks has the best chance of winning them some hockey games. We might not agree with that, obviously. Might not be what we think, but that's his primary motivation. I don't think anything else is really factoring in for him.
Right, and I don't know that the guys that you are trying to showcase for trades are guys that are towards the most obvious guys to pull out either.
Right.
Let's see. Brian, once the playoffs start, will you guys cover all the games kind of like the hockey guy does? I don't know. We still don't know yet. We're kind of, want to make sure we're still doing the best Kraken coverage we can. but will be interesting. I don't know if we'll go, kind of follow a couple teams, or we'll do certain nights of the week. Maybe, I don't know.
We will have a big long meeting and what's the Ron Francis line? We'll have that conversation, and then
Yes.
we'll make a decision.
Yes, exactly. Let's see. Kraken Hawk. So what's your over under for trades in the coming weeks? I say 2. Ooh, that's hard because I really think the number is gonna be 2. So if I had to do over
Yeah,
under,
Kraken trades.
yeah, yeah. There's probably gonna be more than 2 trades overall, league wide.
Yeah.
If I had to do over under though, then I guess I'd do 1.5.
Yeah, I'd go 2.5 just because at 1.5 I would take the over too easily. 2.5 I really have to think about it because I do think that Geo and Yarncroak are givens, and maybe something else happens. I'd take the under at 2.5 still, but I'd have to think about it.
I was gonna say I don't know what a third trade would be, so I do 1.5, but like plus 110.
I could see him do a swap for like some AHL things, or just like swap one AHL guy for another. That kind of stuff happens. That's where I'd
True.
be like, okay, you could hit the over.
Yeah, true. Let's see. Ty, I think Blackwell has earned a fancy name. What do they call him in the locker room? Slips.
Good one.
Hey, we've been seeing what CB43 going around on Twitter and in chat sometimes.
Yeah,
it's kind of fun.
CB43's been going. Yeah, as far as like outwardly to the media, I think it's Blackie because hockey players are not creative and they have only 2 versions of nicknames.
Yeah,
so
that is true. Lindsay, the hockey guy is a different breed. More power to you if you can manage to watch every single game in the first round, but maybe do like a fan poll once we know the matchups. Yeah, we might just follow some series. We'll figure it out as things approach. We'll have news for you before it starts, though. Yeah. Don't worry.
I don't know that we could churn out as much content every single day as he does in that respect. He is a different breed in that regard.
Yeah. Superfly, I hope for a lot of trades, but given that everyone in the media is talking about everything being incredibly quiet, 2 might be the most we could see. It's been, I don't know.
Yeah, again,
it's weird. Like for
speaking to a wider. Okay, go ahead.
I was gonna say for so long it was we're waiting for the trade deadline. All the teams seem to be waiting for the trade deadline, but at the same time there was all this buzz everywhere about multiple teams, multiple people, right? Jacob Chikrin everywhere, right? All that kind of stuff. Geo, and then now that we're 2 weeks ish away, it's just nothing's happening. It's fine. Arizona's just going to win with all these guys that could be on other teams, making those teams win. Like, I don't get it.
But I think this happens most years, just about every year, where there's always like, well, it could be a suspiciously quiet trade deadline, and then the trade deadline comes and goes. Like, oh yeah, that was boring. The trade deadline is always a letdown, except there was one exception. It was either last year or the year before, and I forget which one it was.
Yeah, I don't remember. There's a couple, but it's like elections. It's like once every 4 years, you get a good trade deadline, and that's just it.
Yeah. And I'm not counting on it being this year.
No, it could, but I don't see it. I think too many teams, really what I think's affected things the last couple of years has been the salary cap. I think that's been part of it. So you haven't seen any of the like blockbuster deals where you have guys with multiple years left on their contracts. Like you saw the Toffoli deal earlier this season, but normally you'd see a couple of those. Right.
And with the flat cap, it's harder to fit those.
Yeah. Let's see. Madero's also got my Gru jersey came in, but I got a woman's cut, so it's a little too low cut to wear my ECH shirt underneath. Tag's already off though, so no takes backsies. That's cool though. I'm still happy you got the Gru jersey and that you're enjoying it.
Yeah, absolutely. You need a Gru jersey.
Yes, it was destined. Harley, hey, yes, I checked out the Seattle fan vote contest on the app. Great idea and some cool fan shares. Yes, it is really cool that the Kraken are doing that.
Yeah, no, I think it's a great idea, and just to see how many fans are on there too, like it's just awesome. Like going through each one, I just loved reading that stuff.
Yeah, and I like that they're doing it with the different categories and stuff, so it's not just like, oh, here's like 45 people, pick one. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of pick the different types of fans that there are. I think it's been really well done. I have been happy, lately with all the stuff that the Kraken have been doing from a media outreach standpoint and everything.
Yeah, they've really ramped a lot of that stuff up as the season's gone on.
Yeah. Cracking me up. Hockey guy is boring, no personality, just reads the stats. I mean, I'm not gonna lie. I kind of also think that way sometimes. He just reads what's literally just written on that whiteboard.
Yeah, it's like when you put out as much stuff as he does, talking everything. I don't know
I
how your
know.
mind doesn't just go to mush and like you. I don't know how
Yes,
you express anything.
it's
To be
it's
honest.
it's a lot. It is a lot. I mean, because those whiteboards are a lot.
Mm-hmm.
um, Ty, Game Sevens in the Patreon live chat would be legit. That's a good. It's a good way to bring
Mm.
in the Patreon. Let's
Yeah, that
see.
could be good.
We got to bring in. We should just have our production meetings live. Everybody can
Yeah,
chime in.
yeah. Seriously,
Give us
live
the
stream
ideas.
production meetings. All right, we'll get better ideas than we'd come up with on our own.
I know. Lindsay, the hockey guy, has adorable bunnies and cats, though. It's so cute to watch them playing around in the background. Yeah, but see, is that then personality for him? I don't know.
I mean,
You're kind of saying he's so boring. You're staring at the background, right?
it's a win either way, though.
I
I love cats, and in the future we'll get that too. Again, my parents have cats. I love cats. Don't have any of my own right now in the tiny apartment, but that'll be a future thing.
Hey, we had Afra barking and disrupting me earlier. It's the same,
Yeah.
right? Sergeant Pickles, if the hockey guy ever has another meetup in Seattle, we need to go. I met him and he's super cool. Yeah, he seems like a great guy.
Yeah.
Heck of a jersey collection too. I can't imagine what that closet setup looks like.
Oh yeah.
That's intense, I'm sure. Madero's follow-up, is Lauzon actually the worst? My perception is he's not awful, but his occasional miscues are always the big miscues that makes him more visible in a bad way. No, I think at the beginning of the year he was the worst because those miscues were multiple times a game. But
Yes.
certainly as of late, I mean, I'd argue Jamie Alexiak's been worse in their own zone than he has been.
Agreed. Yeah, I think there are a lot of games recently where Lausanne has not been the worst defenseman in their own zone. That reputation kind of had time to build up over the start of the season where everyone's reacting very strongly to everything, and he actually was that bad at the time.
Yeah.
He really, really was every single game. But he's been a lot better recently. And again, I still like some elements of his game. Like we haven't seen, in the playoffs, like he's so much a better of a player in the playoffs than he is in the regular season, which we won't have a chance to see this season. But if he sticks around to when the Kraken make the playoffs, like he could pay dividends there.
I was gonna say, and he's an RFA. It probably not going to cost too much after the season he's had either. So yeah, and he's young. He could still totally develop. So it could be good. Let's see, Brian. He has a ton of jerseys. Good Lord, I'm telling you, he does. I don't know where he keeps them all. Do we get an explanation to Sweet Potato Donato nickname from the Gourd in that post game video? Oh, did we ever get an explanation? Did we?
No, we didn't.
I didn't think.
No, we didn't.
No, we didn't.
We didn't. That'd be an interesting one.
It would be. Reading ID. RJ, do you have a hockey nickname, and how uncreative is it?
Let's see. I don't know. Do I have a hockey nickname?
Not really. I mean, RJ's already a nickname, so it just kind of you just go with that.
Right.
Sometimes in hockey, it's shortened to just R because you're just rushing. I've done that playing with you before, but like that's it.
That's pretty uncreative.
Yeah, it works. Brian, do you guys participate in fantasy leagues? Never really heard of NHL if there, is any. We have in the past. It's difficult.
Yeah, hockey doesn't lend itself really well to fantasy, I've found. Like we've tried in the past, and we've done it the ones by categories.
Yeah, the ones by categories with like weekly matchups of two teams, that's not the way to do it. You have to do it like baseball style, where it's just, all the categories and it's the whole season. And you know what I mean? You just set your lineup daily based on that. That's the only way to do it. We could look into doing that next season, though, with ECH fans. Because part of the problem we always ran into was not having enough people. You could run like a 4 or 6 team league, and it's just like, it's not good.
Everyone's got first liners through all their spots. It's just not fun. But hey, we actually got a cool hockey community now.
Yeah.
It could work.
Yes. So let us know if you guys would be interested in that. Christopher, if eating salary for other teams counts as a trade, I'll take the over. That's a good point.
Oh, yeah. Okay, yeah. Take the over for sure. Yeah, I could see that happening.
Good thing to bring up there.
Yeah.
Lindsay, sorry. Let's try to guess RJ's hockey nickname. I say Esky or maybe Canos. He doesn't seem like a Robbie if we're going by first names, but I don't know. I could.
Yeah. Maybe in the NHL just be like Esky because Eskidos. That's
Yeah.
probably the uncreative one they'd come up with.
Yeah.
I mean, on one of my teams, I'm the captain, so they call me Cap sometimes, but that's the only one.
Yeah. Well, I'll start calling you Esky when we play.
Oh boy.
Elias, Kraken Media is great minus a mascot. Yeah, I don't know that that's their fault though.
Yeah, no, that's not their
Jurisdiction.
Yeah, thank you. Yeah.
That's the word you were looking for, right?
Yeah.
Reading ID. The hockey guy is peak calming content though, and I have mad respect for the way he can film in one take. Yeah, agreed.
Oh yeah. That's hard to do.
Yeah, and then although I will argue again, he's just reading off the whiteboard, so a little easier that way.
It'd be impossible otherwise.
Yes. Medeiros, I think the hockey guy has flashes of personality, but I do like having one place to go for quick, no fluff review of the flow of all the games. Agreed, and that's why he's the largest like hockey YouTuber.
Yeah, exactly.
Like it's a
I mean,
nice.
like, everyone can go in, watch it, set it, forget it, and
Yeah, it's a nice one-stop shop for everything that way. Lindsay, in Lauzon's defense, he's only 24, whereas Alexiak is 29, so it feels like he's still developing as a D-man, while Alexiak should know better. And at the beginning of the year, Alexiak did know better. I still think this is something to do with the injury.
Yeah, it's, again, hard to pin that down, but he just hasn't been the same since. And you kind of point to that moment in time where things changed, and again, you never know what these guys are going through. Like, the players will play through a lot.
Yeah. I was going to say, and especially given the nature of that and how it shifted, like who really knows?
From non-COVID illness to lower body, yeah, it's just a weird one. He said it was a freak thing, and we never knew anything more than that. He's like, I don't want to get into it any further. It was just a freak thing. So that sounds like something that could potentially linger.
Yeah. Ty, NHL fantasy is a beast. It's an everyday thing. Yes, you can. What I always did was I'd set my lineup for the week out, but then you got to like pay attention, make sure that you don't have a scratch or anything. But it is a little bit of a commitment compared to fantasy football.
Yeah.
In that regard, but Brian's in. Let's do it. And then Ty, ECH bracket challenge for sure is a must. We did that last year, for sure. Doing that again.
Yeah. 100%. We will do that. Bracket challenge. Everyone sign up.
Yeah. There's Brian. Hi, family.
Hey, Brian. Good to see you.
I was going to say, we were talking about you earlier. Happy about the Donato jersey. Gets the goal tonight. Everything's great.
Yep.
And then Madero still in. Let's not act like reading off a card is easy. Dunner showed us that in his GeoVid. Lol. Yeah. Well, and I show it to you guys trying to read these comments every night too. So who am I to say anything really?
Yeah, you do have the tough assignment there, reading out the comments. I know we talked about that earlier in the season because you were kind of switching back and forth.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's not easy. Mad respect to you, Dylan.
Oh, gosh, I'm terrible at it too. Reading ID, my friends were asking if I do fantasy hockey, and I was like, my real team basically just fantasy drafted itself. That is true. What more do I need? But I'd be into trying next year. All right, so we are getting some interest in it.
Yeah.
Lindsay, very true. Jack Campbell apparently had bruised ribs for the past 2 weeks when we played against him, so it's hard to know who's playing through the pain. Yeah, certainly 60 games into a season, I'd argue everybody is dealing with something. Again, this is where like the old playoff adage of there's a difference between playing hurt and playing injured comes in. Because by playoff time, everybody's playing hurt.
Yep.
But it is interesting, and I was surprised by all the Jack Campbell stuff. Like, because they really let people go after him for a while. And then it's like, oh, it comes out that he's hurt. And then, lo and behold, tonight, everybody on Twitter is like, oh, I wish we had, Campbell back.
Yeah, I mean, exactly. It goes to show, as tough as we can be on some players, you never know what they're going through. And I mean, heck, even look at McCann tonight. I bet you he's playing through something that's really bugging him. And he goes and scores a goal afterward. But, like, you see how they can look okay. But I bet you something is bothering him and will continue to.
Yeah. Ty, Eichel returns to Buffalo tonight. Lets him have it in the post game. Loudest he has ever heard them yell. Yikes. Ooh, what did he do?
The quotes from that. Well, no, I mean, because the Sabres won. But in the post game, Eichel was, I think, not the exact quote, but it was something like, that's the loudest I've ever heard them get. All it took was, me leaving.
Wow.
Something like, all it took was 7 years of me leaving.
Wow. That's pretty nuts. Tyler, who has more personalities, Steve Dangle or the hockey guy? I mean, well, you know what? I mean, in some ways they're about even because Steve Dangle only has like one form of personality, and that's just being up to here all the time.
Yeah. I'm screaming.
So in that sense, they're like two sides of the same coin. One got all the passion, the other got like the calm,
Exactly. The
zen
universe
stuff.
balances itself out.
Exactly, that's what's going on there. Brian, is Ron Francis best player available guy or the needs of a team during drafts? Best player available is what I was getting when we went back to look at his draft history in Carolina.
Yes, and also, I mean, he was asked that pretty point blank in our last in the media availability with him, and he's like, "Yeah, best player available."
Yeah.
So,
Brian, I'm way late to the party, but so were the Kraken. Gotta say though, love that third period. Ryan Donato in the lineup, love it. Appleton coming along, yes, and don't worry about it. We're just happy to have you here, Brian.
Yeah, absolutely. You gonna go score 3 goals now?
Yeah, I know. Let's go. Lindsay, Steve has enough personality for both of them. That's true. So glad we could continue our streak of making not awesome goalies look amazing. Medeiros, reference to the Jack Campbell thing.
Yeah. Although I will say, Anton Forsberg, I've always liked him his whole career. He's never rewarded my, my positive reviews. I guess until this season, he's been good this year. But I've always thought, oh, he's gonna be a starter in the NHL. He's gonna be a starter. I'll take the L on that one, but he's been good this year.
Yeah. Let's see. Superfly, anyone complaining about the hockey guy having no personality should watch some of his live streams, in my opinion. I've never watched a live stream, so I checked that out. Medeiros, Dangle has more personality, but he has Homer eyes, so every loss has to be amplified, which can be annoying. Just a little. Just a little. It's a great way to wake up, people sleeping in the house, though.
Mm-hmm.
Just accidentally forget that you were watching like a movie, which meant you had to turn it, the volume up to max because every movie is mixed with dialogue so low. And then the next morning you watch Dangle's post from last night after a Leafs loss, and it's that's an experience.
Yeah, I feel like you may be speaking from personal experience there.
Yeah, maybe more than once. Striatic, here's an issue I don't think has been addressed with enough seriousness in the Kraken media, but why do the hockey gods hate us? I don't know. Yeah. Maybe they're just like Greek gods, where it's one of those, like, they're going to make you suffer for a really long time, but then it's like, that's just to make everything like seem greater at the end.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I mean, we're looking at like the sixth sense of humor, like with Vegas, where they got everything handed them, everything comes easy right off the bat, but they can never just complete it.
Exactly.
You know what I mean? And that's a different kind of torture. They're giving us a different experience. You got to switch it up.
Mm-hmm. I was gonna say, what are we, if not Odysseus right now? Just trying to make the way back to being competitive, all that kind of stuff, but it's just one thing after another after another. But at some point we will get there.
Yep.
There we go.
Promised land.
Put that on a shirt and sell it. Just the whole long paragraph.
I know that whole long quote. Dylan Travers.
Yep. Medeiros, Leafs are my backup team, but I do not go that way when they lose. I stay far away. Yeah, I can see that. It's a lot sometimes. Mm-hmm. Brian, you're so right. Watch Shannon when he's on with Steve Dangle. He's funny, coy, knows the players, teams, and organization. So that's cool. Superfly question: who do you guys think will be the first domino trades league wide to fall trade wise? It's gonna be a defenseman, because that's probably gonna be the only like domino setup this year has been around defensemen. I don't think it'll be Gio.
Yeah, I think it'll be Sherratt.
Agreed.
I think Sherratt will go, and that'll kind of set the price for everything. And if that happens first, also, like, everyone pay attention to that, because that's going to go a long way as far as setting what Gio's price is.
Right, and it's going to be really interesting to see what wins out, the supply or the demand, because I think there's going to be a decent amount of defensemen, and there's a decent amount of teams that need one, but it could go interesting.
Hey Dylan.
Yeah.
I gotta go. Can you hold this down for the rest of it?
Yeah, no worries.
Sorry about that.
It's all good.
Yep, everything's fine, but I have to go.
All right. See ya.
All right. See ya. Bye, everyone.
All right, so we'll try to wrap things up here. Brian, gotta go. Thanks for the stream again. Need to switch to the Kings versus Sharks game. Hope Timo Meier doesn't score 5 goals again. Yeah, for your sake too. Correct me up. Who are we kidding? You guys are the best. Thank you for that. Lindsay, okay, but did you guys see the Nedeljkovic own goal and then near goalie on goal fight with Cam Talbot, Wild Night in Detroit? Lol. That was insane. I see what Nedeljkovic was trying to do by just batting it away safely into the corner. Certainly did not work out that way. That is a gaffe for the ages, that's for sure. And then Stratic, okay, positive note. Jared McCann, Ryan Donato, Mason Appleton. How awesome are these guys? Never give up. Got some skills. Love them. For sure. Love everything about the Kraken's push and energy tonight and stick-to-itiveness, to use an expression my mom loves to use. It was all great. Ty, that own goal in Detroit. Oh, wow. Yeah, it was rough. Medeiros, how does loaning work in the playoffs? What do you mean by loaning? Like, because like if you're under contract with one team, you can't be loaned to another. So I guess I'm just confused by the loaning bit. Just clarify, and I'd be happy to answer. Happy birthday to Hockey Grandpa RJ. I'm sure he appreciates that. Superfly, all right. Good night, everyone. Yeah, no, thanks everybody for joining us. It was a fun game again. It's going to be good. Really fun game to look forward to against Montreal. I think that's going to be a lot of fun. Super excited to see what happens. You know, like I said, their hot streak is starting to wane. Maybe we could take advantage of them. Daros, like sometimes a player will be loaned to another. I guess I misheard that. Yeah, I mean, I don't think that can happen. I know sometimes. Oh, you know what they might be referring to is when they trade like a rental. So they'll trade somebody on an expiring deal at the deadline, and so it's kind of like a loan, or it's a loan from like a minor league system team or something, like an international loan could happen that way. Lindsay, loaning is like when you don't sign a player to a long contract, but just like a year, like what the Leafs did with Nick Foligno last year. Yeah, I wish teams could loan players in the playoffs. That'd be fun, but they can't. Only trade away players with expiring contracts, called a rental. Yeah, okay, rental. So cool. All right, glad we sorted that one out. Thanks everybody for joining us. Going to be really fun to watch the Montreal game. I'm really excited for that one. Get to see Marty St. Louis behind the bench. That's going to be fun. Had a lot of fun watching him throughout his career. And it's just, you know, obviously some big time implications for the bottom of the standings and the draft and the lottery. So should be good. Excited to see if the Kraken can carry some of this momentum over into that game too. I'd love if we could get hot and maybe go on a little bit of a run. I know it wouldn't help the draft lottery standings and situation, Lindsay, but I still think it would be nice. All right, gonna take off now, everybody. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you all next time.